I'm in the studio getting ready for rehearsal. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm really gonna do with this channel. I've got some modular synthesizer stuff going on. I decided to start learning that, and I've been mentioning that, and I'm realizing, man, it's kind of a involved thing, and that's kind of why I've been avoiding it for so long. Pretty okay with regular synthesizers, but I'm not used to just stitching everything up and the limitless possibilities of all of that. But uh, the limitless possibilities do attract me. I'm kind of like, ooh, you know. Yeah. Anyway, one thing at a time with that. I figured out some lighting stuff. Let's see here. Maybe I can show you what I did. All right. No lights. Let's see if it. Boom. Now we got some backing tracks and some lights. Nothing crazy, you know. Let's see if I can. All right. Scene change. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I got that going on. I'll program that stuff. Am I gonna bring it out live on this next show? No. But that's fine. They got a VJ, and I'm looking forward to doing that. We're playing November 1st in Bremerton at an all ages venue. It's a stacked lineup. I'm glad to be a part of it. I like playing all ages shows. I prefer it actually because it's about the music, and everyone there is about the music. Anyway, yeah, I was never into the bar scene, although, it's one of those things you kind of tolerate when you're a musician as you get older. But yeah, anyway, I guess it's kind of easier to delude yourself on what's going on if you're just living in that world. But it's like, that's not something I really want to prop up or support, although there are institutions that are important, and they should remain important. And anyway, yeah, sometimes I do feel like Michael Scott in the paper industry, best boss in the world. Anyway, yeah, I'm working on some things, and always trying to improve. Rocking a 3-piece band. I would have liked everyone to know by now, but one thing at a time with all of this. Who knows? I really don't know how any of this is going to go anymore. I mentioned that I was signed to Blood Music, and I find that ironic now, in retrospect, just because of being in Portland for so long, and coming up right, not long after Megaton Leviathan started as a band. Relapse Records moved to Portland, and a bunch of other small labels. It's always been a hub, but it was, infamous for like heavy music and whatnot. And I probably could have capitalized on that. I'm not going to be arrogant and just be like, yeah, I could have walked into the Relapse office. But I have walked into the Relapse office because I was on 7th Rule and they shared an office, or something. I don't know. They were connected. But yeah, it's and a lot of bands that were on 7th Rule moved on to Relapse. That just wasn't what I wanted to do. I would have been happy to have been on 7th Rule. I thought they were a great label. Scott always treated me great, better than I probably deserved. Come to find out, it's just, yeah. Anyway, I think a lot of people don't know how good they had it, and then you talk to the guys that came up in the 80s and 90s. you're like, oh, wow, it could have even have been better. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm always looking upward, and I think that's where I want to be. I don't think there's anything wrong with where I'm at. I feel like I survived, and sometimes being a secret is the magic trick of survival. I don't know if I'm important or not. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I did that. But I don't think it matters. I think that's just kind of common for most musicians. It's all rock and roll. We're all stealing from each other, Reuscher's kind of a pirate. Anyway, yeah, I'm working on stuff. I really, it's just, I think if anything anymore, I'm doing it more for myself than like I've always have. It's always about me and what I can achieve, and I think that's, we didn't really think we were ever going to be signed to a label, after Seventh Rule. The thing with Blood Music was kind of like, came out of nowhere. Mort did that with Ruben from Evangelist. Evangelist was supposed to get signed to Blood Music, and somehow he was trying to get us signed too. And I had nothing to do with any of that other than just being like, yes, and not everyone in the band at the time was on the same page as Mort and I, but we saw that, where Blood Music was, from our perspective, it looked like they were successful. The artists that were at the top of the roster were doing interesting things, and their albums sold. And I'm like, okay, they're doing something, they're touring and all that stuff. And I'm like, this seems to be the right place for us. Like, if we're going to start moving forward, this is, definitely going to help. And I never was under any delusions that that label was going to do anything, because I know that, like, it's all about what you do and how you do it, But yeah. Anyway, what happened with Blood Music wasn't my fault. I gave them the album. We were gonna go tour, and then we noticed that Toby Driver's tour wasn't going as well as he had hoped, and it had everything to do with the label. So yeah, I'm throwing that fucking guy under the bus. I don't give a fuck. Everyone knows. You know what I mean? Like, I have nothing to hide. What am I gonna get out of this? Like, who's gonna gatekeep me? I don't give a shit. Fuck Blood Music. I'll say it, but I feel like you can't just be bitter about shit. You just have to be better. And yeah, so tour never happened. My band broke up, and I've been living out in Astoria with my 3-piece band. We put out Magick Helmet, and like, that's kind of a joke, I know, but if you can get through that fucking album, I don't know, I might have to have it remastered or something. I'm proud of it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, that's what I'm telling you. I just don't give a fuck. I do what I want, and that's always the way it's gonna be. Whether or not I'm signed or not, I'm still gonna fucking make music and put it out on my own accord. I haven't quit my day job, I do what I love. Dig it. Doomgaze or General. Outro.